Hey, how are you doing today?
Hi, how are you doing? My
I'm
name is
good.
Marcel.
Hey, Marcel. So, tell me about yourself.
All right, originally from the Dominican Republic,
Mhm.
born and somewhat raised there.
Mhm.
I was raised there till at least like the age of 6,
Mhm.
until my parents actually got their visa and were able to travel to the United States. When they first came to the United States, they went to, I think it was either New York or Jersey,
Mhm.
and they ended up traveling to New Orleans. I think we had family here, and they attracted them here and told them it was a little bit on the slower pace, not that fast living that you have over there in Jersey. And meanwhile, all this was happening, I was in DR back with my grandmother and my other three cousins. And it was rough because I can remember till this day, the day that my parents left, that I knew exactly what I was wearing and everything. And I thought they were going on like a quick little trip, or like they were coming back that same day. And soon enough, I realized that they started going by faster and faster. And sometimes even slower. It was faster because I had my cousins, and slower because I still didn't have my parents. So it wasn't up until 2 years later that they were able to get a visa for me.
Okay.
And during all that time that I was over there, I was actually constantly getting sick. I guess it was hitting me just the fact that they were away from me as well. I remember I got real sick one time that they had to travel to back to DR, but one of them had to come home come back to the States while I was still sick in the hospital. And eventually I was able to come and travel. I remember what it felt like the first time I traveled on the plane. I cried because the ears popping and everything, but it was pretty cool. It was a nighttime trip, and I remember when I first got to the States, I was still like I was a kid that still drank like milk in a bottle, like in a container, and I was like, okay, we need to go buy a container for me to drink milk out of. That was the first thing I asked. And the coolest thing was I came on my cousin's birthday. And then eventually, like a week later, it was my birthday. So I came around the perfect time for gathering in families, which was December. And like I said, it was a struggle going like from being with my parents all the time to living with my grandma for 2 years, and then just going back with my parents.
Was there like a language barrier for you, like coming from the Dominican Republic to the United States?
There definitely was, because I didn't start. It was since it was December. It was around the Christmas holiday time, so kids were off. I didn't start until like January school, so I had to get enrolled into ESL, and they would shift me from the ESL program to regular class.
Okay.
So I got to interact with other kids, but at the same time it was hard. Thankfully for me and some other kids, there were still other kids that were ESL with me. So they would go from that class to the same English speaking class that I would go to. So it wasn't that much of a
And coming to New Orleans, was it like a drastic, like was it super drastic a change for you, or how did it make you feel like actually getting to New Orleans and realizing that there were not a lot of other people from the Dominican Republic in New Orleans?
it was drastic because I was used to the way we live in DR. Everybody knows each other mostly, especially depending where the area you're from. Like everybody knows each other. So coming here, I couldn't go to the corner store like I did back home. My parents did not allow that. I couldn't communicate with other kids as well as I could back home, and then just constantly trying to do things because I was the only child at that point. So, and then my cousins lived kind of a little further away from where I lived. So I always trying to make sure I had a friend near me that spoke Spanish and talked to me in Spanish. That was a little bit difficult, but once I caught on to the English, I was able to communicate with other children and realize, okay, it's gonna be okay now. Even though, like I said, I couldn't go to everywhere I wanted to. My parents wouldn't even let me go to like my friend's house because they didn't know anybody. They didn't speak English themselves. To this day, they don't speak English as well as they could, or I feel like it's not easy for them, especially as adults. As kids, you're able to interact more. You don't have to worry about anything else but school. Versus an adult where you have, a job, you have to take care of your kids and this and that. So you don't get to interact as much with other people to actually learn the English language. And growing up, I always had to be the translator.
Okay.
Till this day, I still have to translate
for your family.
Yeah, for not most of my family, mostly like the elders or like my father, and a little bit to my mom. But that was the thing that I had to do.
So, food wise, like tell me how that went.
Food wise, Jesus, I couldn't go to the corner and go get me like, I don't know, some mango or anything like that. And it wasn't until recently, like 2 years ago, that I got there's like a Dominican restaurant here on the West Bank. So it was either a homemade Dominican food or like Mexican food from a restaurant. It was hard. Because I missed the food from back home.
So, do you still visit the Dominican Republic, or do you have like other cousins who have came over to America, or other family members?
So I visit occasionally. I haven't been in about 6 years or so, but ever since I left the Dominican Republic, I've actually been back 3 times.
Okay.
At different ages, but 3 times. And I'm pretty sure a lot has changed since I left. Mostly because either the kids are already grown up, we've grown apart, or they moved. Like my best friend, she got her visa when I was in high school here, and she was in high school in DR. So she had to come around her junior year or so. So my cousins from my dad's side, they've all came as well. But everybody likes to travel either to like the Florida area or they like to travel to the New York, New Jersey. So when you go up there, you're gonna meet a whole bunch of Dominicans. Versus in Louisiana, there's not like a lot of Dominicans. I feel like now there's a little bit more.
Okay.
Like I think it's next week we're actually having a Dominican festival.
Oh nice. Oh nice.
The first Dominican festival. So that's
where is it gonna be located?
It's somewhere in the West Bank. I haven't found out all the details, but I just found out.
Okay. So your overall experience in Louisiana, New Orleans.
It's home.
It's home, so you do consider...
It's my second home.
Okay, so you consider it as your home. This is where you are from? Yeah, you grew up here, so this is your home, yes.
Yeah, like DR, it's like, that's the motherland. That's, in ways, I wish I could retire there and just stay there most of my life, but I need to travel in order to get more experience in my craft and just in general get general information about different stuff. And I feel like here in the United States it's a little bit easier to do that, and that's why I feel like a lot of people come here for the American dream. So
do you think you have found your American dream, or?
I think so. A lot of people say it's in the blood because a lot of Dominicans are hairstylists. So I'm a hairstylist. And they feel like a lot of Dominicans are hairstylists. I've met people that have like, they're a hairstylist, and like 5 other people or 10 other people in their family are hairstylists, and they all own shops. But in my family, I'm the first one.
Okay.
So I had to go out of my comfort zone and experience. I did experience college. I experienced cosmetology school, but I have found my niche. I have found what I want to do. And it's also embracing 2 different cultures. I get to act on the American culture and also in the Dominican culture, and mix both of them into my craft. And my knowledge as well.
Well, that is all that I have for today. Thank you, Marcel, for doing this wonderful interview. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, that's it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.